Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Monty, and y'all are watching Mod Games. And let me start today's stream off with this. Fuck Henry Kissinger, dude. Fuck Henry Kissinger. We're now living in a world free of Henry Kissinger. And you know what? The air is just a little bit sweeter. The crops are growing just a little bit taller. And the world is just singing a sweeter tune, dude. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. After 100 years, we're free. We're free of that man. One of the most morally bankrupt men of all of human history, dude. So we're gonna start off with HyperFixations, right? So HyperFixations, if you don't know, is where I just talk about things that you sometimes don't have anything to do with gaming, but sometimes they do, but just things that have been like on my brain. So happy Friday, everybody. Let's get into it. Today's episode is called Henry Kissinger, Rip Bozo, Barbary Lions, Art Museums, and Webtoons. So here is what has been on my mind the past 2 weeks. So last week we were on Thanksgiving break, and this week we have this. So Dr. Kissinger died a couple days ago. Womp, 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 womp. I'm sure that's the sound that they're gonna play as they lower his coffin into the soil, dude. This man is beyond evil. I don't have the time nor the education to give you a full comprehensive list of all the morally bankrupt things that this man has done. There are plenty of people out there. I think it's called Behind the Bastards. Did like an 8-part series on all the bad things that this man has done. But I can give you like a little tasty taste, right? So I saw this graphic. So here's just some of them. So there's the Cambodia bombings, the East Timor invasion support. He supported Pinochet in Chile, Bangladesh, Argentina. Like all these countries were affected by one man, one Secretary of State in the United States. And honestly, like a lot of the criticisms that the United States gets from all of these countries, from the world, a lot of them stem from Henry Kissinger, you know what I mean? And like to me, like one of the things that he did was he is often credited with ending the Vietnam War, but they don't say that he also prolonged it. He prolonged the war and he spread it into Cambodia, he spread it into Laos, and through that he was able to help the rise of the Khmer Rouge, which killed so many people, and the rise of Pol Pot as well, dude. And he was also the reason why a lot of negotiations now in regards to Israel and Palestine are always leaning towards Israel. It's him, dude. It's him. So he is morally bankrupt man, and he did it because he believed in power, because he wanted to exercise American might all across the world by killing millions of people. So if you see people celebrating a man's death, this is why. And here's Anthony Bourdain's words, right? Once you've been to Cambodia, you'll never stop wanting to beat Henry Kissinger to death with your bare hands. You will never again be able to open a newspaper and read about that treacherous, prevaricating, murderous scumbag sitting down for a nice chat with Charlie Rose, or attending some black tie affair for a new glossy magazine without choking. Witness what Henry did in Cambodia, the fruits of his genius for statesmanship. And you will never understand why he's not sitting in the dock at The Hague next to Milosevic. I don't think that it's a stretch to say that he is one of the most evil men in history, and I think the world is a better place without him in it. I don't say that very often here at Mod Games, but there it is. Okay. Anyway, moving on from him, let's talk about something a little sad as well, but I think less sad is the Barbary lion. So this is something that I've been like had a weird like obsession with for a couple of days, where I just like would like I came across a video of them talking about the last photo of the Barbary lion, right? And I'll show you guys that in a second. But I was very interested in the history of this lion. And I love big animals, and I just found out that the Barbary lion is the largest lion to have ever existed. The Barbary lion lived on the northern part of Africa, so Morocco, like that area, Egypt. Historically, they are the lions of the Colosseum. So like whenever you hear about gladiators fighting lions, it was the Barbary lion. So they're the lion of myth and legend. Very famous. And they were hunted into extinction in 1958. And the history of the Barbary lion is so sad, because they were just hunted by the Romans, then the Persians, and then the Europeans, and now they're gone. Like an entire species of lion are just gone. This like mighty beast. I don't know, it's just so sad to think about, and to think about like other animals like the rhino and like pandas who are like teetering on that edge as well, to live in a world without them, that is known of these creatures for thousands of years, to just have them be gone because of us. It's so sad. It's so sad. But here's a photo that inspired all of this, like me like just looking into it, just like watching these documentaries like right before bed. But there's just something so haunting about this image. I don't know, you can almost see like an entire pride of these lions behind this one. You know, like it's like you can see the footsteps in the sand, and like imagine gradually like there being like more footsteps, and then eventually like condensing into just the one. I don't know. This photo makes me really sad. But yeah, that's where my brain has been for the lions. My heart goes out to the Barbary lions, dude. So sad. So sad. So speaking of like being sad about images, here's a painting. So I went to the Cleveland Art Museum over our Thanksgiving break, and this painting really captured my attention and my imagination. So this painting is called Lot's Wife by Anselm Kiefer, and it was just so fascinating. This painting is huge, by the way. It is probably from like the bottom of like that door all the way to the top, like maybe even to my ceiling. It's huge. It's a huge painting, and I like by just like a quick glance, it doesn't look like much, right? It's train tracks going off into some vanishing point. But like, if you look closer at it, if you are able to like go and see it, there's like so much texture and so much life to this painting, and it's beautiful. Like first my eye was taken into the train tracks, right? So, and I was like looking at this like barren waste, and you see like almost this paint like coming off in flecks and stuff. It truly feels like it's being rusted away. I'm getting like little senses of like the apocalypse in it. I'm getting a little senses of like a car in a junkyard eaten away by rust. Like that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. And then I saw this like white splodge at the top, right? It's like cloud, and I was like looking at it, and if you look very closely, you can see these like little parts where the the paint has kind of like worn away a little bit, and there's like these little vein-like things. Can I show? Yeah, right here. These like little vein-like things here, and then there's like these things right here where the paint isn't as thick, and this makes me think of like blood vessels, and this made me think of tissue, and I was like, this, like the way that this looks like a ghost going like this, you know what I mean? And it looked just so alive, and I was like so captured by it. And I looked at the title and it said Lot's wife, and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. So if you don't know Lot's wife, the story in the Bible, basically how it goes in Genesis is that this is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, when like angels came and they were like, Lot, you gotta get out of here, but don't look back, otherwise you'll suffer for it. And so Lot took his family and they were leaving, I don't remember which one it was, Sodom or Gomorrah, but they were walking away from it. Like God was punishing those cities, but then Lot's wife turned around and she turned into a pillar of salt. Like that's the story of it, right? But I thought it was so fascinating because it kind of validated this like my artistic instincts about it, because what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to just like look at these paintings before I read the placard, and that's what I got from it. It was a beautiful like revelation, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this painting. So yeah. So if you ever get the chance to go to the Cleveland Art Museum, please check this out. This is in the modern art section. I know a lot of people give modern art like so much shit, but like if you are able to just sit down in front of a painting of modern art, and you'll get it. I can't explain it. It's so hard to explain. There's like this another painting that I might talk about next week called there's another painting that I might talk about next week called Alabama, and super powerful. It's an abstract piece of art, and I loved it. It was the abstract piece of art that turned me into an abstract art lover, right? It's a black canvas with like just splotches of white in the center, and it's very evocative, a very evocative painting. So I'll bring it in for next week. But on the topic of art museums, I wanted to share with you my favorite art museums. Okay, so every time I go to a new city or I go traveling, I love to go to an art museum, right? And I've been to some really good ones, and I've been some not so good ones, right? I've been to the Frisk? I don't remember. Fisk, I think it was what it was called, in Nashville. I've been to the Cincinnati Art Museum, the Columbus Art Museum. I've been to the art museum here in Atlanta. I've been to a lot, but here are my like favorites, right? So the first is the Carnegie up in Pittsburgh. This one feels very like high-end, a very high-end art museum. Like the modern art section on it is like very, I don't know, it just feels like brand new. But it's very beautiful. The parking was relatively easy as well, and I enjoyed just like walking around here. Some of the sculptures were really evocative. Like they were like room-sized exhibits there, and they were really nice. Oops, sorry. Was this where it was? There was also an armor set gallery that I went to, and I don't remember whether it was at the Carnegie or if it was here, the second one, where I saw it. But there was a very cool armor set thing. But here's the Detroit Art Museum, which I also really liked. You go up to it, and the Thinker is at the very front, and it's nice. Like the atrium in the center is so cool. I love it. And then finally, this is my absolute favorite one, is the Cleveland one. The Cleveland one is so good, dude. I go so often to the Cleveland Art Museum because it's so good. The opening entrance is like this massive not lobby's not the right word. I think it was called an atrium. And the various sections are substantial, and they're not like, I don't know, there's some art museums that I go to where like, I don't know, like their Egypt section is like super small, or they're like their like Renaissance section are like not as much. You know what I mean? I've been to an art museum where there was none of that. It was like 3 floors of like of just modern art and not like world history art, and I was like, okay. All right, well, cool. And then I had like the rest of my day, like I planned like my entire day to just go to this art museum, and there was like nothing, and there was like nothing there, and I was like, ugh. But the Cleveland Museum is not like that. I can spend hours upon hours at an art museum. I've taken 2 dates on art museum dates. Like one was in Washington DC, because I was on Tinder in Washington DC, and we went to the National Gallery, and it was so awkward. Maybe that's why I didn't enjoy the National Gallery very much, but it was it was fine. And also I went on a date at the Atlanta Art Museum, and that was okay. I will tell you this right now. The dates that I go to at art museums are not very fond of my habit of taking notes. Like, as y'all can see, I take notes at art museums. They're not too fond of that. They're like, can we keep this moving? And I was like, okay. And next, final thing on my HyperFixations is Webtoons. So I've usually been ending HyperFixations with me talking about like the fan fictions I've been reading, but I didn't read as much. I didn't read as much fan fictions. I read like one. I read a couple, but like I want to talk about this more. So Webtoons that I'm following. So I've been following a couple of Webtoons. I'm a huge fan of these. These are free. You could just download the app, dude. Not sponsored, by the way. I just love this app. I love free art where I can get it. So here's the Webtoons that I'm following. This one is called The Doctors Are Out, or is it The Doctors Are In? Hold on, let me see. The Doctors Are Out by Blau. Really sweet. This guy is a vet, and this guy is a doctor, and it's really sweet. I think the artist is Filipino, so there's like little words there that I'm like, oh wow, I know that. But there's I really enjoy following his journey a lot. There's a lot of like post-breakup trauma that he's going through, and I love his relationship with his son. And y'all know I am in love with like the dad fix, dude. I love dad fix. I love it when like when 2 men have children, dude. It's sweet. I love seeing fathers with their child. It's sweet. I love it. So check that one out. And the other one I'm following is called To the Stars and Back. I love this one. I've been following this one for like a long time, like before season 2 started, and I like it. The art style is really nice. This guy's like really grumpy, and this guy's like really happy. So if you like Black Cat, Golden Retriever, this is for you. Well, funny thing about that, Chris, because I also have been reading Castle Swimmer. This one's super fun. I read this one. I haven't gotten into the second season yet. I have read through the first season. The first season was so good. It was just my first webtoon that I ever read. But it's really nice. I really enjoyed this one. The world building is really fun. Everything's about it is just really nice. I like this one a lot. And the art's really pretty. Another one that's really good is called #Muted by Candice Mon. Candice, this one is like really, really cute. And I really enjoyed it. I thought the art was really cute. If something has a really nice art style, that's how I can get into it, right? There's some that I've read that I just couldn't get into the art style, and I just had to drop it, right? There's some that I read too, where like halfway through the art style changes, and I'm like, oh. But this is not one. This is really good. I really enjoyed this one. So check that one out. Another one is called Post Harbor. This is like a group of friends who go to this like vacation spot, and they like, it's like a story about friendship and like puzzles and all that stuff. It's super sweet. It's very wholesome one. And then finally, Batman Family Adventures. Oh dude, this one was so good. I haven't read into the second season yet, but the first season was so good. This is one where the art style does change, and I was like a little not as keen on it, but I am still excited to read through it. But the episodes with like Tim, like with the brothers, are so good, with like Jason Todd like overcoming his trauma, with Tim Drake talking about like wanting to just be a brother to Dick Grayson. Like, it's so good. If you love Batman, please check this out. Okay, I think that's it. All right. Hey, if you're watching this later on YouTube, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love ya.